a beautiful sing-song way like you do. Yasin wal Quran al Hakim, all together. Then Asmaul Husna. Wallahu allazi la ilaha illahu al Malik al Quddus al Salam al Mu'min al Muhaymin al Aziz. The way you do. Same. 300 years, because they did that, they retained Islam. Another community, which we were Indian Muslims, we have been lost long ago. In a similar period of time, the Afro-Americans from Africa, they were taken. They were Muslims, most of them, but in 300 years they lost Islam altogether. But these Malays of the Cape, call them Cape Malays there, these Malays, they have retained Islam, and you can look forward to meeting them in Makkah and Medina when you go for Hajj and when you go for Umrah, and strengthen this bond. Bring them to your country, learn things from them, and you share your love and feeling with them, and strengthen this bond that exists between the Muslims, especially beginning with your own people from South Africa. With these words, I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity of coming and speaking to you this evening. And at the end of it, I don't know what the chairman has announced in the Malay language, is question time, and you are now in a position to ask questions. You can ask questions in writing, I'm told. You have to write the questions and send them in as quick as possible. And as quick as possible, we can get started in answering them. And at the end of question time is the finish of the meeting. So I ask you well, I wish you well, and I say, وَآخِرُ الدَّعْوَانَا أَنَّ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ.
Thank you, Sheikh Deedat. It's now time for questions. I have got a few questions, but I think it's only fair that this question is directed to Deedat, and hopefully he would answer in English, and I would be able to translate, if possible, into the Malay language. Now, we have two questions already, but somehow or other, I think the committee feels that the questions are quite long-winded, and that is not straight to the point. Now, I would suggest, if anyone would like to ask questions, be as brief as possible, because we don't have that much time. And then, of course, Sheikh Deedat would reply also briefly, because give all others a chance to question Sheikh Deedat. Anybody, because I have earlier said, if you have questions, you put it on paper. Kiranya ada soalan-soalan, tuliskan dengan kertas, hantarkan kepada kami, supaya kami dapat menjawab dan meneliti soalan-soalan itu, sebab untuk menjimatkan masa. Kita boleh duduk sini, dan Syekh Deedat berjanji dia boleh duduk sampai pagi pun tak apa, tapi masalahnya kita akan berhentikan majlis ini dalam kira-kira 10:30. Itulah pengambil lambat. Silalah siapa-siapa nak bertanya, tuliskan atas kertas sebagai tanda bukti soalan-soalan itu sesuai atau tidak sesuai. Maklumlah, banyak masalah yang akan timbul. Now I'm facing with a lot of problems, but I will go to this passage of the Holy Quran. فَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ أَن تَحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ. Saudara-saudara, Mr. Deedat, there is one question here. Now, could you elaborate about your statement in connection with Tunku's dialogue with the Pope? Now, can you come back to the microphone and answer this question? Elaborate that, and perhaps we would like to know more of this, if you have. That is my first question. You can use that microphone. Yes.
You see, when I came to this beautiful country of yours in 1984, I met the Tunku. And he asked me, Ahmad, that's my name, he says, this dialogue of yours with the Pope, what happened? I says, no dialogue took place. You want to know why? I says, no, His Holiness didn't mean the dialogue in the sense which the Quran speaks. The Quran, Allah Ta'ala wants us to have a dialogue with Him, with the Christians. Ta'ala, come, talk about Allah's unity. He is the one and only Allah that there is. This is what Allah wants us to talk. That we don't associate partners with Him. Talk about that. So when His Holiness was making proclamations, like He's making today, you must see the star, this morning star. He wants to have a dialogue with the Muslims. So after many years of waiting, I wrote to His Holiness that I am prepared to come over to the Vatican and have a dialogue with His Holiness. Because the Bible says have a dialogue and the Quran says we must have a dialogue. So there was no reply. So I sent him another letter, there was no reply. So I sent him a telegram. His Holiness the Pope, I sent him a telegram. So I get a response telling me that he's prepared to receive me in private, in his secretariat. So I wrote back asking him, how big is your secretariat? Because this is not a private matter. A dialogue with the Muslims is not a private matter between Ahmad Deedat and the Pope, that I go and enjoy a cup of tea with him and have a nice good time, and he gives me a gilt-edged Bible as a present, and I come and tell the people, I says, I went to the Pope and he gave me tea and he kissed my hands. This is wanting to boost my ego. What a great guy I am. I said, no, this is not a private matter. The whole Muslim world wants to know, the Christian world wants to know, what are you people talking? So how big is your secretariat? Because 3 plane loads of Muslims are coming from South Africa alone. Youth. From Durban, Johannesburg and Cape Town. And from the Middle East. And from the UK. How big is your secretariat? No answer. Again, no answer. Actually, he didn't mean that dialogue. He is telling his people, go and preach to the Muslims. Go and convert them. But he doesn't use the word convert because you're going to react. So the best way is talk about a dialogue. This morning's paper, dialogue. I go to Birmingham delivering a lecture. And in that lecture, I meet Dr. Abdullah Nasif of the Rabita. So he's asking me, Ahmad, what happened about your dialogue with the Pope? So I told him, I says, this was just a hoax. He didn't really mean a dialogue in what sense we understand. What Allah wants us to talk about, no, not about that. So he says, he did it to me